Male dementia residents tend to be more time conscious in terms of the help they give to others, so meeting and greeting works well for them. And also, you don't need to communicate that well to meet and greet others. Just, hello dearie, how are you? And morning love. Just saying that to the ladies in the unit, and that's a good, morning greeting, and goes down very well with the elderly ladies in a dementia unit who, don't have much male company. There's few men in dementia units, and many of them, their husbands have died and they don't have male relatives visiting. So, hello morning and how are you, love, goes down very nicely, especially in the morning when sometimes they're feeling a bit lonely. They can be picked up by a friendly greeting. It goes a long way. So confident male dementia residents are social in dementia units. They meet and greet all the women, and they go out of their way to actually socialise and not just make an impact on other ladies, but be courteous and kind and generous and helpful if they can. Being confident, they have the ability to be able to go up to women they don't know, and often what they'll do is they will greet them, but they'll encourage them. Encouragement's actually a big thing in dementia units. Encouragement and praise, they're the two ways that men tend to meet and greet and socialise with women. So praise in terms of something like, oh, your hair's looking lovely, dear, or it's a lovely outfit, or lovely nails today, or men always seem to find something to praise women about. So that's one way of meeting, greeting and socialising. And the second way is encouraging. So if the person or the woman is down and depressed and flat and they can't get much from them, then saying, a little pat on the back and saying, oh, everything's right, love, it'll be all right. It's a sunny day today. Why don't you come over to the window and look out at the sunshine and the birds and have a cup of tea? They may go and sit with them, because often the woman, oh, will you come with me and sit with me? I'd like to have you sit with me. Of course, that's what the women will always say after a meeting and greeting. But generally the men don't want to do that. They would rather just keep walking around the corridors and keep moving and hopefully find where some action might be happening in the place. They don't really like to sit down with elderly women for a long length of time, unless they're unwell and sick. Some male dementia residents are very compassionate in that way, but just to sit for mundane conversation, they don't really like it, but they're very happy to do the meeting and greeting scenario. And it does help. It really does help, because the elderly dementia residents get to know these men. They get to enjoy the meeting and greeting, and it's heartwarming. It's often, it's the main form of socialization actually for them in terms of warmth and, uplift and a bit of a boost, because as they say, the elderly women say, we don't get much praise or encouragement when you get older. It's very thin on the ground, so it's nice to receive a compliment. And the men in dementia units, the residents, the male dementia residents, are generous with praise. And it's nice for the women, because actually a lot of effort goes into appearance and making the ladies look nice in a dementia facility. Much more effort than what most people realise. I mean, even to just do the maintenance, basic daily maintenance of showering and dressing and hair washing is actually a big deal in itself, especially when people are disabled and they have stiff joints and they don't like being showered anyway, and all the problems of dementia and confusion. But along with that, staff are very good. They often put on makeup and lipstick and rouge and make sure the hair's nice, and put on nice outfits for special days such as birthdays or anniversary occasions. So all these special times when the woman gets dressed up, or she just had her hair done or set, the men will comment and praise the woman for it, and that, that little boost helps the woman for the day. Actually, much more than you'd think. There was one woman, and she had her hair, she actually had a lovely hairstyle, I have to say, And she did look very nice when she came back from the hairdresser. She was one of the lucky women that went to the hairdresser every week for the daily set, you know, the weekly set, the hairdo. And it was all very coiffured, and she had her special lipstick she put on to match the outfit and the whole thing. And she always came back, the hairdresser used to wheel her back to the unit. And she always came back with such a smile beaming on her face, and all the men, oh, how beautiful she looked, and the staff would praise her. And really, that buoyed her for the week. That one event was her thing, and she got a lot of compliments because of it. Of course, the other poor ladies that don't get their hair done, what about that? Well, the staff make the best effort to try and, you know, put a ribbon or a clip or a curl or something in it, especially for those times when they're going out to see the family. So everyone makes the best effort possible. Now, so with the men encouraging the women when they're meeting and greeting, so if they're depressed, they'll do, you know, whatever they can to lift their spirits, as I mentioned. If they're anxious, that's a bit harder. Men find it more difficult to deal with anxious, escalated women. You've got to have a bit of courage to do that, because if you go up to an escalated dementia resident who's calling out and you go over and try and help them, sometimes they can just, you know, raise the volume and call out further and longer, you know, I want to go home, I want to go home. So unless there was a really special connection with that person where the man knew the woman, you know, knew her well enough to be able to de-escalate her. And that happened too, that there were one or two men that knew the women that tended to call out. There's often 3 or 4 in a dementia unit, 3 or 4 women that call out a lot, and it's a great help if you can de-escalate them. But it takes a certain sort of relationship with that person for them to recognize you, know you, trust you, for them to then allow you to settle down. And it takes a certain tone, a certain manner, genuine reassurance has to be there. And of course, you need to give it some time. So that helped on occasions when men could do that, but not all men wanted to go and help anxious women. They were better off with the general woman and the depressed woman, not the anxious, escalated type. So this is how confident men can help in dementia units, meeting and greeting. Men that aren't quite as confident and that are more insular and introvert, they often greet women, but more so if they're quiet, a quiet persona, they just tend to greet the women who they come across as they walk along the corridor or as they sit at the dinner table. They'll say good morning or good afternoon. But they won't go out of their way to walk around the unit and actually go and greet and meet everybody as the more confident dementia male residents do. There's some men that aren't that social but with women, but not many. Most of the men actually are very courteous. Most of them are gentlemen, courteous to the women, and there's very few that aren't pleasant with the women. So the women, of course, are very grateful, and for any male attention, and especially if it's positive male attention, and especially if it's encouraging and, you know, has a bit of praise mixed in it, then that's the perfect combination for them. The perfect combination. And men don't have to have great social skills for this. Yes, they do have to have good social skills, but they don't have to have good communication skills. They just need to, and verbal skills. They need to be able to communicate in a warm way and smile and be empathetic. But in terms of word usage, it can be limited. So that's why it's very effective for men that haven't got the word skills, but they've got a warm persona. They can help the woman a lot in this way, meeting, greeting, and communicating on a heartfelt level with them rather than a verbal manner. So these 2 books I've written, The Resident's Voice and The Resident's Rise, both from a dementia unit, and on my website, pietavalentine.com. So thank you for your interest, your comments, and please subscribe, those that are watching this channel. Thank you.